This is a short story that illustrates an important life lesson for all of us who live in this world. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a queen. She was the kindest and most generous woman you could ever hope to meet. One day, the queen fell gravely ill, and the royal physicians were summoned to her bedside. They diagnosed her with a rare disease and told the king that only a magical fruit from a faraway land could cure his wife. The fruit was called the Starfruit of Avalon. It was said to grow only at the top of the tallest tree in the world, and it bore a single fruit every 100 years, a fruit that would glow like a star in the night sky when it ripened. The king was desperate to save his wife, so he assembled a team of the bravest and most skilled warriors in the kingdom and sent them off to find the Starfruit of Avalon. The warriors traveled for months over mountains and through valleys in search of the magical fruit. But when they finally reached the tree, they found that it was guarded by a fearsome dragon. One of the warriors, a young man named Gareth, stepped forward and bravely challenged the dragon to a duel. The dragon, impressed by the warrior's courage, agreed to let him climb the tree and pick the fruit if he could defeat it in battle. Gareth and the dragon fought for hours, but neither one was able to gain the upper hand. Finally, just as the sun began to set, Gareth struck a fatal blow and defeated the dragon. He climbed the tree and picked the Starfruit of Avalon. As the fruit began to glow, illuminating the forest in its ethereal light, Gareth carefully wrapped it in a cloak and made the long journey back to the kingdom. When the warriors arrived back at the castle, the queen had already passed away. The king was heartbroken, but he knew that he had to do what he could to save his wife. He had the fruit ground into a powder and mixed it into a potion. Then he gave the potion to the queen's body and watched as it began to glow from within. Slowly, the queen began to stir and eventually opened her eyes. She was alive, but the king and his warriors soon realized that something was wrong. The queen looked at them with cold, soulless eyes, and a cruel smile spread across her face. "So you fools thought you could cheat death itself," she said in a voice that was cold and sharp like shards of ice. "But you have made a grave mistake." With that, she raised her hand and unleashed a bolt of dark energy, blasting the king and his warriors to the ground. As they lay dying, the king looked up at his treacherous queen and asked, "How could you betray me? I risked my life and brought you back from the brink of death." "How can you be so cruel?" The queen laughed, a harsh, grating sound that echoed through the castle. "You misunderstand," she said. "I am not the woman you once loved. When I drank the potion, it awakened something dark and powerful within me. Now I am immortal, and I will rule this kingdom with an iron fist." With that, the queen vanished, leaving the king and his warriors to die. Gareth, who had been grievously wounded, managed to crawl to his feet and stumble out of the castle. As he looked back at the towering walls, he knew that the kingdom would never be the same. The people would suffer under the cruel rule of their new queen, and he had played a part in bringing that about. Filled with remorse and guilt, Gareth left the kingdom and wandered into the forest. As days turned into weeks, Gareth's wounds healed, but his spirit remained broken. He had saved the queen's life, but in doing so, he had unleashed a darkness into the world that would cause untold suffering. He had traded his soul for a chance to save the kingdom, and now he was cursed to wander the earth for the rest of his immortal life, forever haunted by the memory of what he had lost. Now, before we move on, I want you to think about this question. What do you think the moral of this story is? Write your answer in the comments section below. In the heart of the ancient forest, there lived a wise hermit who was known throughout the land for his knowledge and his ability to help those in need. People from all over came to him seeking guidance and wisdom, and he was revered as a holy man by all who knew him. But despite his reputation, the hermit lived a simple life in a small hut that he had built with his own hands. He spent his days tending to his garden and his animals, and his nights by the fire, reading old books and meditating. One day, Gareth stumbled upon the hermit's hut and collapsed at the door, begging for help. The hermit, who had seen much suffering in his lifetime, took pity on the young man and brought him inside. He healed his wounds and fed him and listened patiently as Gareth told him the story of the treacherous queen and the dragon's tooth. When Gareth finished his tale, the hermit spoke in a calm, soothing voice. "You are right to feel remorse, Gareth. You have traded your soul for power and glory, and now you must live with the consequences of your actions. But know this, even in darkness, there is always hope." The hermit handed Gareth a small vial filled with a shimmering liquid. "Take this with you," he said. "It is a potion that will help you on your journey." With that, Gareth thanked the hermit and set off on his way, clutching the vial tightly in his hand. He traveled for many days, and along the way he met all sorts of people who needed his help. Some were sick, and he healed them with the hermit's potion. Others were weary, and he offered them food and shelter. And some were lost, and he showed them the way to safety. As Gareth continued on his journey, he began to feel a sense of purpose. He may have lost his kingdom and his honor, but he could still help others and make a positive impact on the world. He was no longer the young, reckless warrior who had been willing to sacrifice anything for glory. He was older and wiser now, and he knew that true strength came not from power or prestige, but from the courage to do what was right. And so Gareth continued to travel the land, helping those in need and searching for a way to atone for his past mistakes. He never forgot the lessons he had learned along the way, and he carried the memory of his fallen comrades with him until his dying day. All right, now that we're back, it's time to reveal the moral of the story. Here it is. When you seek to do good but do it in a harmful way, you might end up causing more harm than good. Gareth's intentions were pure. He wanted to help his king and his kingdom, but his methods were misguided. He chose to use dark magic to bring the queen back to life, and that ended up causing more suffering than it prevented. This story teaches us that it's important to be careful about the means we use to achieve our goals. Sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Gareth's story is a cautionary tale, but it also offers a message of hope. Despite the harm he caused, Gareth was able to find redemption by helping others and making amends for his past mistakes. We can all make bad decisions, but it's never too late to turn things around and make a positive impact on the world. The key is to learn from our mistakes and strive to do better. So what do you think? Do you agree with the moral of this story? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to click the like button. Thanks for watching.